The VR Incident. On December 21st, 2017, a 44-year-old man in Moscow, Russia was using a virtual reality headset at home. Immersed in the game, he moved through his apartment without noticing obstacles. Investigators later determined he stumbled and crashed into a glass table, which shattered and caused severe injuries. Alone at the time, he could not call for help. Hours later, family members found him lying on the floor surrounded by broken glass. He had bled to death from injuries to the head and neck. Authorities confirmed it as one of the first recorded fatalities directly linked to VR use, drawing attention to the hidden dangers of immersive gaming in unsafe environments. The StarCraft Incident. On August 5, 2005, 28-year-old Lee Sunop entered an internet cafe in Daegu, South Korea. He ordered a soda, logged into StarCraft, and began a marathon session. Hours turned into days, and by the second night, he had been at the keyboard for nearly 50 hours. His posture slumped, eyes bloodshot, but he continued playing. The cafe manager urged him to take a break, but he refused. On the third day at dawn, Lee suddenly collapsed. Paramedics arrived, but he was unresponsive. At the hospital, doctors confirmed cardiac arrest due to exhaustion, dehydration, and blood pooling from immobility. He was pronounced dead shortly after arrival, highlighting the risks of extreme gaming sessions. Pokémon Electrocution. On July 9, 2017, a 12-year-old boy in Iloilo City, Philippines, played Pokémon Go near a construction site with friends. Distracted by the game, he climbed onto a metal structure close to overhead power lines. Witnesses reported that he lost balance and accidentally touched a live cable. A loud crack followed, and the boy collapsed instantly. Emergency responders arrived quickly, but he showed no signs of life and was pronounced dead from electrocution. Authorities confirmed that the game's distraction led him into a hazardous area. The incident was part of several Pokémon Go-related accidents worldwide, emphasizing the dangers of focusing on screens in risky environments. The Minecraft Incident. On July 19, 2015, a 17-year-old boy entered an internet cafe in Pampanga, Philippines, and logged into Minecraft. Witnesses reported that he played almost continuously for 3 days, taking only brief naps and eating minimally. Staff grew concerned as he barely moved and appeared exhausted. On the third day, while leaning forward to type, he collapsed. Paramedics arrived but could not revive him. Doctors later cited cardiac failure caused by severe exhaustion and dehydration from prolonged immobility. The incident served as a tragic reminder of the hidden health risks associated with extended gaming sessions. The Call of Duty Swatting. On December 28, 2017, 2 Call of Duty players in the United States got into an online argument over a $150 wagered match. One player, Casey Viner, asked another, Tyler Barreras, to swat his opponent by calling the police with a fake emergency. Barreras provided an address, which belonged not to the rival player, but to 28-year-old Andrew Finch in Wichita, Kansas. Police responded to the fake hostage situation. When Finch opened the door, officers shot him, killing him instantly. The case shocked the gaming community. Barreras was later sentenced to 20 years in prison, and Viner received a shorter sentence. The incident highlighted the deadly consequences of online harassment and swatting. The Wii Fit Incident. On December 28, 2009, 25-year-old Tim Ease of Sittingbourne, Kent, received a Nintendo Wii Fit for Christmas. Excited, he used the console's fitness programs for several hours that day, performing balance and aerobic exercises. Later in the evening, he complained of chest pain and shortness of breath. His mother urged him to rest, but minutes later he collapsed. Paramedics arrived quickly but were unable to revive him. An inquest found that he suffered a sudden cardiac arrhythmia. Doctors noted that although rare, strenuous physical activity can trigger fatal heart irregularities even in young adults. Tim's death became the first reported fatality linked to Wii exercise activity in the UK. The Counter-Strike Incident. On February 26, 2010, 2 men in their 20s were playing Counter-Strike in an internet cafe in Chongqing, China. The game led to a heated argument, and both men shouted insults across the room. When staff intervened and briefly separated them, the confrontation continued outside. One man, losing control of his temper, grabbed a knife and stabbed his opponent multiple times. Emergency responders arrived, but the victim died at the scene. Police arrested the attacker, who admitted the altercation started during the game. Chinese media widely reported the case as an example of escalating violence linked to online gaming disputes in public spaces. The World of Warcraft Incident. On February 1st, 2007, a 26-year-old man entered an internet cafe in Guangzhou, China, and began playing World of Warcraft. Over the next 3 days, he barely spoke and took only brief breaks for instant noodles or restroom visits. By the third day, his movements slowed significantly. At 10 a.m., he suddenly slumped forward onto the desk. Other patrons initially thought he had fallen asleep, but he remained unresponsive. Paramedics were called and found no pulse. Doctors later cited cardiac arrest caused by extreme exhaustion and dehydration after prolonged, continuous gameplay. The incident became one of several in China, highlighting the health risks of extended online gaming sessions. The Halo Incident. On October 20th, 2007, 16-year-old Daniel Petrick in Wellington, Ohio, argued with his parents after they confiscated his copy of Halo 3. While they were away, he retrieved both the game and his father's pistol. When his parents returned, he confronted them in the living room, ultimately shooting his mother, Susan, who was killed instantly, and injuring his father, Mark. Paramedics arrived and saved his father while Daniel was arrested. He later attempted to frame his father for the shooting and was sentenced to 23 years to life in prison. The case raised questions in the U.S. about teenage obsession with violent video games and their potential influence on behavior. The Pokémon Cliff. On September 7, 2016, two men in Tokushima Prefecture, Japan, were playing Pokémon Go along a coastal path. Focused on their phones, they failed to notice a steep drop overlooking the sea. Both fell from a height of more than 65 feet. Emergency responders were called immediately. One man was found alive but seriously injured, while the other was discovered unresponsive and later pronounced dead at the hospital. Authorities urged players to remain aware of their surroundings, and the incident received national and international coverage as an early example of augmented reality games leading users into dangerous situations. The Lineage II Incident. On March 29, 2005, in Shanghai, China, two friends, Chu Changyi and Zhu Tao Yuan, played the online game Lineage II. Chu had loaned Zhu a powerful in-game sword, which Zhu later sold without permission. Furious, Chu demanded its return, and when Zhu refused, he reported the theft to police. At the time, Chinese law did not recognize virtual property as real, so no charges were filed. That evening, the disagreement escalated into violence. Chu stabbed Zhu repeatedly, resulting in his death. Authorities arrested Chu at the scene. In June 2005, he was convicted of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment with the possibility of parole. The case became one of the first high-profile examples linking disputes over virtual items to real-world homicide. The Pokémon Train. On August 23, 2016, a 39-year-old truck driver in Tokushima Prefecture, Japan, was playing Pokémon Go while driving on a rural road. Distracted, he failed to see two women crossing at a railway intersection. The truck struck both pedestrians. One woman, aged 72, died instantly. The second, aged 60, was rushed to a hospital but later died from her injuries. Witnesses reported that the driver did not brake before the collision. Police arrested him at the scene and he admitted to using the game while driving. Prosecutors charged him with dangerous driving resulting in death. The case drew national attention in Japan and prompted the game developer to include stronger warnings about operating vehicles while playing. The League of Legends Incident. On November 14, 2012, a 23-year-old man entered an internet cafe in Wuhan, China, and logged into League of Legends. Staff and patrons reported that he remained at his station for nearly 23 hours, barely pausing to eat or use the restroom. As the day progressed, he appeared increasingly weak and was seen rubbing his chest. In the early afternoon, he suddenly slumped in his chair, arms falling to his sides. The attendant called for help, but he was unresponsive. Paramedics arrived and transported him to a hospital, where attempts to revive him failed. Doctors attributed his death to cardiac arrest caused by extreme fatigue, dehydration, and prolonged immobility.